Look, we all know generative AI is completely transforming the world of business. It's not a question of if you're going to use it anymore, it's a question of how. And that how really comes down to one single massive decision that could define your company's entire future with AI.
And it all boils down to this one question right here. Think about it. When your team uses some public AI tool to summarize a confidential report, or to analyze proprietary research, maybe even to draft a sensitive legal document, where does that information actually go? Who else might be looking at it?
And this leads every single company to a major fork in the road. Are you going to rent your AI or are you going to own it? On one side, you've got the public cloud APIs. That's the rental model. Super easy to get started, scales up in an instant, but, and it's a big but, you're sending your data to a third party. On the other side, you've got private on-premise deployment. This is the ownership model. Yeah, there's an upfront investment, but you get total control, and your data, it never leaves your side.
So why are so many big companies, especially in those really high-stakes industries, choosing to bring their AI in-house? Well, it's all about solving what we're calling the AI privacy dilemma.
The reasons really boil down to four huge things. First up, regulatory compliance. For industries like biotech or healthcare, messing up and mishandling patient data under rules like HIPAA, that isn't just a mistake, it's an absolute catastrophe. Second, intellectual property. We're talking your secret formulas, your R&D, the crown jewels. On-premise AI is like a digital vault for that stuff. And finally, you've got data sovereignty and security, which at the end of the day just mean one thing. Your most critical asset is completely isolated and under your command.
This quote from a user on Reddit just nails the feeling behind this whole movement. It's not just some dry corporate policy, it's this fundamental desire for ownership, for security. It's that peace of mind you get from knowing your most valuable information can't be read, used, or taken away by anybody else, period.
Okay, but that kind of control, that's gotta be wildly expensive, right? Well, not necessarily. Let's reframe this. Let's stop thinking about it as a cost and start thinking about it as an investment and explore the surprising economics of owning versus renting your AI.
This is what on-premise actually looks like. It's not some abstract concept floating in the air. It's real, powerful, purpose-built hardware like this Lenovo ThinkSystem, just packed with the GPUs you need to run serious, enterprise-level AI workloads right there, inside your own data center.
So, how do the costs actually break down? Well, with on-premise, you've got a high initial cost. That's your capital expenditure, your CapEx, you got to buy the server. But after that, your ongoing costs for things like power and staff are pretty predictable. Now, the cloud, it's got no upfront cost. It's all an operational expense, or OpEx. But the costs are totally variable, and they can skyrocket depending on how much you use it. And here's the real kicker. With the cloud, you're always subject to the provider's policies. With on-premise, data security is under your absolute control.
And this whole difference in how you pay for it leads to this really critical concept: the break-even point. There is a specific moment in time when renting your AI from the cloud actually becomes more expensive than just owning it yourself.
And here it is. This is the aha moment, all laid out on a graph. That orange line, that's the on-premise cost. You see that big jump at the beginning? That's buying the hardware. And then it goes almost flat. Now the blue dashed line, that's the pay-as-you-go cloud cost, and it just keeps climbing and climbing. Right where they cross, at just under 12 months for this particular server, that's your break-even point. After that, you're literally in the green. You're saving money every single second.
And you know what the best part is? Once you cross that break-even point, that financial advantage just keeps getting bigger and bigger. This bar chart shows you exactly how those savings stack up over time, and this is for just one server. I mean, look at how they compound. By year 2, you've already saved almost $1 million. By year 5, the advantage is just massive.
How massive, you ask? For this one server, running all the time, the total savings over 5 years is more than $3.4 million. That is not a typo. That's a real strategic financial advantage.
So, okay, owning your AI can save you millions. That's huge. But the real value, honestly, isn't just about the cost savings. It's about what you can do when you have a powerful, private, and totally secure AI at your command, things you just couldn't dream of doing with a public service.
Let's take a super high-stakes industry like biotech. I mean, here we are talking about the literal building blocks of life: genomic sequences, clinical trial data, proprietary drug formulas. This stuff is priceless. So for these companies, private AI isn't just a nice-to-have. It is an absolute necessity.
And that kind of control unlocks applications that are genuine game changers. We are talking about having an AI analyze your own secret library of chemical compounds to discover new drugs faster, or automating the interpretation of sensitive patient records, knowing you're 100% HIPAA compliant. Or, get this, building a custom AI assistant that knows your company's internal knowledge base inside and out, creating a competitive advantage that is literally impossible for anyone else to replicate.
So, we've gone through the arguments for privacy, for cost, and for unlocking brand new value. This brings us to the final step, figuring out the right path for your company.
Here's a super simple framework to help you decide. First, think about your workload duration. Are you just running some short-term experiments? Hey, the cloud is fantastic for that. But if AI is a continuous 24/7 part of your operation, the math starts to lean hard towards on-prem. Second, think about usage intensity. Is it unpredictable, spiky? The cloud's elasticity is your friend, but if it's stable and high volume, on-prem is going to give you a way better total cost of ownership. And finally, and this is probably the most important question of all, how sensitive is your data? If you're dealing with anything proprietary, confidential, or regulated, then a private local LLM isn't just a good idea, it might be your only strategic choice.
Ultimately, it leaves us with this one final thought to chew on. As artificial intelligence becomes less of a tool and more of a core part of your business, essentially your company's brain, is renting that brain from somebody else really a sustainable long-term strategy?